All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. It is Wednesday, and you know what that means. Wednesday wisdom time to dive deeper into the lost wisdom of the Corpus Hermeticum and the ninth chapter entitled A Universal Sermon to Asclepius. A universal sermon to Asclepius. Well, we know Thoth and Hermes Trismegistus, which is who is talking to Asclepius today, the Egyptian sage god, or Greek version, Hermes Trismegistus, is always trying to teach Asclepius, or Tot, his son, the nature of the universe and the understanding of God and the understanding of science and astrology, astronomy, and the nature of the creation of reality and humanity and many other things, ladies and gentlemen. But if you haven't joined us in this series yet and you're just joining us today, then thank you for being here. The Corpus Hermeticum is one of the primary works of the Hermetic tradition. This Renaissance era craft is nonetheless based upon philosophical materials from far older times, namely the 3rd or 4th century AD, from which the primordial material came. Credited to Hermes Trismegistus, the divine Pymander, sometimes called Pomander, or sometimes spelled that way. But this, ladies and gentlemen, has been an incredible series thus far, and I am excited and will not delay any further as we dive into a universal sermon to Asclepius, chapter number 9 in Corpus Hermeticum, the Divine Pymander, original manuscript, Hermes Trismegistus, 3rd century AD. And so, a universal sermon to Asclepius. It's about 79, 80 verses long. And so we'll see how far we can make it to today, depending on how much we ramble. But it seems pretty straightforward, this first page. So let us begin. It starts out, number 1. All that is moved, O Asclepius, is it not moved in something and by something? Asclepius replied, this is number 2, yes, indeed. Number 3, must not that in which a thing is moved of necessity be greater than the thing that is moved? 4, of necessity. 5, and that which has motion, is it not stronger than that which is moved? It is stronger. Number 7, that in which a thing is moved, must it not have a nature contrary to that of the thing that is moved? It must. Number 9, is not this great world a body for which there is no greater? Asclepius replies, yes, confessedly. 11, and is it not solid, as filled with many great bodies, and indeed with all the bodies that are? 12, it is so, Asclepius says. So Hermes, or Thoth, seems to be testing or leading to something by asking him these seemingly obvious questions. Where do you think he's going, ladies and gentlemen? Let us find out. So, and is it not solid was 11, as filled with many great bodies, and indeed with all the bodies that are, question mark. He replies in number 12, it is so. Now I'm going to skip the numbers here because some of these, verses are literally just 3 words or 2 words, like it is being the next one. So number 13, and is not the world a body, and a body that is caused to be in motion? It is. 15, then what kind of place must it be wherein it is moved, and of what nature? Must it not be much bigger, that it may receive the community, the continuity of motion, and lest by being moved, should for want of room be constrained and hindered in the same motions? Wow, that was a deep one there, ladies and gentlemen. Number 16, it must be an immense thing, Trismegistus, but of what nature? Asclepius asks. 17, of a contrary nature, O Asclepius. But is not the nature of things intangible, contrary to a body? Confessedly, he replies. Therefore, the place is intangible. But that which is intangible is either some divine thing or God himself. And by something divine, I do not mean that which was made or begotten. See, we learned earlier in a previous chapter, that which is made and begotten is not God, because there was a body. Let's see. Number 32, this is from that God is manifest, that God is not manifest and yet is most manifest. This was, I believe, book number 5 or 6. But it says here, this is God. That is better than any name. This is he that is secret. This is he that is most manifest. This is he that is to be seen by the mind. This is he that is to be visible to the eye. This is he that has no body, and this is he that has many bodies. Rather, there is nothing of any body which is not he. And for this cause, he has many names, because he is the one, and therefore has no name, because he is the Father of all things. Made manifest, for the things that are manifest, he has made manifest, and the things that are not, he has hidden in himself. Now, what brought us back to that? It is of a contrary nature, O Asclepius, but is not the nature of things intangible, contrary to a body. And he goes, therefore, this place, if it is such that way, this place is intangible, but that which is intangible is of either some divine thing or God himself. It's almost like he's saying, are you telling me that the earth is like a divine being? But a divine being, and he's like, by something divine, I do not mean that which was made or begotten. That which was made or begotten. So he says, that which, I do not mean that which was made or begotten, because he's talking about the divinity of the planet. But he's like, I'm not talking about a physical divinity of something that was made or begotten or created. And so we're going back again to that God is not manifest and yet is most manifest. I believe book number 5. And he says here, for it, I'll read the first 3 lines. This discourse I will also make to you, O Thoth, that you may not be ignorant of the more excellent name of God, but you should contemplate in your mind how that by which you may, but how that which to many seems hidden and may not manifest may be most manifest to you. So you can see that which to others does not seem to exist. For it were not all, if it were apparent, for whatsoever is apparent is generated or made, or I'm going to add the word begotten, like is being spoken of here. He says, therefore the place is intangible, but that which is intangible is either some divine thing or God himself. And he goes, by something divine, I do not mean that which was made or begotten. So there's a difference. For it was made manifest, but that which is not manifest is eternal. What does that mean? For it need not be manifested, for it always is and was. And it makes all things, all other things manifest, being not manifest, as being always and making other things. And so God is not made, yet in fantasy he imagines all things, or in appearance he makes them appear, for appearance is only of those things that are generated or made or begotten. For appearance is nothing but generation. And so when he says here, speaking of the planet, the earth, and he goes, and of what nature must it not be much bigger, that it receive the continuity of motion, and least by being moved, should it want of room, be constrained and hindered in the same motions? He's talking of that it moves in the celestial cycle, you know, or going forward in the helix, or but although it's moved, it has a, for want of room, it is constrained and hindered in the same motions. But then going back to that which is divine, being eternal, or the source of things that is not created yet. Therefore, the place is intangible, but that which is intangible is either some divine thing or God himself, which is intangible, not manifest, not created, not made, not generated yet. And by something divine, he clarifies, I do not mean that which was made or begotten. So something intangible that isn't physical. So he's talking about possibly what always comes into my mind, the as above, so below, that there is a spiritual deity, or like, you know, you hear the theories that people talk about, that we go through these reincarnation cycles in the, you know, the Bhava Chakra or the Wheel of Destiny, and we have to go through so many lifetimes to achieve, you know, the avatar level, so to speak, to escape out or ascend, have an ascension out of the reincarnation cycle, so that we are then, you know, these, and some people believe that we become planets or even stars, and we then have a new life cycle at a much higher spiritual level, going, you know, all the way from the mineral kingdom to the plant kingdom to the human realm to the God realm, and further and further up. But this is referencing many different spiritual philosophies that have a lot of different ideas within themselves about these ideas. And so this is all open to debate and discussion, and this is what we do here. I am seeking to achieve and maintain happiness. We are seeking to achieve and maintain happiness or enlightenment through greater awareness and understanding of the nature of reality, by seeing that it's all connected and that there is something to learn by connecting everything. However, so the planet here that he's talking about, maybe as above, so below. So there's a divine entity that is, you know, an avatar, so to speak, that is in the non-physical realm or the spiritual realm. And in the physical realm, as I hit the table, that is the mirror form of it. So the like the simple version of this, the sun god Ra, in the spiritual realm, it's below, as above, in the spiritual realm, being Ra, with all of those principles and what the archetype entails, and then the sun being the physical below, mirror version of that, and the representation of that in the sky, referring to astrology and the planetary bodies and how this may work, because I have a feeling that this has something to do with that. Now, see, I couldn't get to verse number 20 without rambling too much, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you're getting value. Thank you for being here and joining me in the premiere. It's a lot of fun to go back and forth with you. And so if you're watching, join the live chat below. Boom. 19. Therefore, the place is intangible, But that which is intangible is either some divine thing or God himself. And by something divine, he says, I do not mean that which was made or begotten. Number 20, if therefore it be divine, it is an essence or substance. But if it be God, it is above essence. But he is otherwise intelligible. 21, for the first, God is intelligible, not to himself, but to us, for that which is intelligible is subject to that which understands by the senses. That which is intelligible is subject to that which understands by the senses. 22, therefore, God is not intelligible to himself, for not being any other thing from that which is understood, he cannot be understood by himself. Very fascinating, ladies and gentlemen. Therefore, God is not intelligible to himself, for being any other thing from that which is understood, he cannot be understood by himself. That's a deep one.